Yo, folks, Rhino here with Controversial Exchange. Dimitri and I are uploading videos, just kind of talking about what's going on in our lives as everything's changing drastically the past however many weeks or months that this pandemic and the build up to it has been occurring. And today I just wanted to share this weird thing that's been going on in my life, where I'm like realizing that I'm slipping into past behavioral patterns that I used to engage in. And this isn't anything concerning, or it's not like it's taking away from my health, things like that. But it was something that I worked on years ago, and I'm seeing reemerge, sort of resurgence of things going on because presumably I would assume the conditions that are occurring. And so in the past, I used to play video games. And this was because I grew up in a very small town where there's absolutely nothing to do. 2,500 people was it. There was no movie theater, no bowling alley, no mall, nothing like that. I had to drive an hour and a half at least if I wanted to go to a Walmart, places like that. It was often 4 hours. It was of a drive to be able to get to the next town for us to be able to like bulk up on a lot of groceries and things like that. We had all the day-to-day things, but everything was so expensive. We actually made monthly trips just to be able to go out and get supplies and things because it was that much more economical to do. And so being disconnected like that led to a lot of figuring out how to build up things, whether passions, hobbies, whatever you want to call them. One of them in particular was sports for me for a while. But just to shed a little bit of light there, like our basketball team, our starting five came from 4 different small towns that bust into the town that I was in. And so I couldn't even practice and shoot hoops with people. There was no way to get in to the gym, or there was no extracurricular activities. There was, and all my friends were anywhere from 30 to 50 miles away if I wanted to play. And so it was this thing where it created this cool set of conditions for me to learn how to really develop skill sets, as well as spend a ton of family time. Like I had dinner at the family table all the time growing up, and I know that wasn't a traditional thing that many people had, but it also allowed me to develop other skill sets, such as, and like ways to spend my time. One of them was video games. Yes, another white dude talking about video games, spending time on video games. But for me, this was just an area where I'd spend, 1 to 6 hours a day, I would say, on average, for some defined like 4 to 5 year period. It's a lot. Playing whatever it was, Guitar Hero, things like that. And I played them all from Sega, Nintendo 64, GameCube, PlayStation 2. Like I was in it. But one of them was really interesting for me, and that's when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 came out. This is what they call a first-person shooter. So what you're doing is you're running around shooting people, different tasks, things like that. And for this one, it came out while I was in undergraduate. It was after I found behavior analysis, after I got into like a practicum placement and working hands-on with people. And I was really learning how to apply these sort of things, these strategies, tools, procedures, principles that we talk about to helping people out. And at the same time, I was like watching, this thing that I used to do, consume my time again, but during a time when I had this other passion of behavior analysis shaping up. And it got to the point that this thing was just so rewarding, so reinforcing, that I kid you not, I would spend from about 3:30 in the afternoon until 4:30 or 5 in the morning, constantly playing all the time. And then I'd sleep for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'd get up and I'd go to work for about my 6-hour shift, drive home, and then restart. I did this every day. Weekends was just throwing 16 to 20 hours into the game, sleeping a little bit more, and just go. Now, I accomplished some really crazy stuff there. Like, I would not go to bed unless I was like in the top 3 or 200 people in the world globally, which if you ever play those games, when you wake up after a couple hour nap, you're back down to like 16 to 20,000th in the world. Like, it is insane how much time people put into these. But for me, I enjoyed it. Whatever has to do with like the reward system and how they built that out, it's perfect for me. But all that's to kind of say that what's going on now is I'm finding myself having 3 months of canceled work. A lot on my plate that I have to finish when it comes to documentary and stuff, which it's called This Way of Thinking. I'm actually exporting one of the test rounds of that, so it's pretty exciting. But without a lot of stuff coming up in the next few months, I found myself sliding back into things. And so to close the past story up, I ended up in a sense kind of like waking up when my roommate at the time said, "Hey, are you ready for school?" Like the next semester was going to start. I left that part out. Like I was playing those video games like crazy in undergrad on this winter break for about 3 to 4 weeks. And I was like, "Yeah, no, we got another week. It's cool, man." He's like, "No, Ryan, like semester starts tomorrow." And when I realized and put that together, not having bought my textbooks and handled stuff like that, I unplugged the thing and I gave him the console and I said, "Here you go." I ended up giving that console away before I went to graduate school just so it wouldn't be a barrier. But I had to like physically alter my environment by getting rid of that thing to be able to step away from it. Now, with the pandemic and things that are going on, all this canceled work, what I was getting at is, well, turns out somebody told me that there is a nice little app that is available. And so, boom, guess where I've been spending some of my time? Not a ton, but enough. And I just realized that when I said that, I didn't know exactly how much, and I can click in here and see exactly how much time I've been spending. So let's dig around here. Now it's time to kind of take your guesses. I've set an app limit on this one. Okay, here we go. See all activity. Ooh, what are your guesses? In the past week, 7 hours, 38 minutes. That is so much time. That's ridiculous. For context, I spent a ton of time on YouTube consuming things as well, learning tutorials or just for pure entertainment. And that was 7 hours, 28 minutes. So yeah, it might be time to set one of these, but there's clearly unreal circumstances going on when it comes to mental behavioral health right now for people. And I've always been super lucky and fortunate to be able to manage things pretty well, not having a lot of other social pressures or factors kind of weighing in on it. Things aren't perfectly easy for me right now, but like I'm good. I think part of that's mindset on just making sure that I always have priorities straight, family, health, things like that. Don't take these things for granted. The lost work, it sucks, but there's a little bit of a contingency plan that I had in place, and I'll make it by. I've got a support network. I'm creative and I can figure those sort of things out. And if anything, I know how to buckle up and throw more time into things. And I can do the best. Like I'm going to do my best. That's all I can do, right? But there's also some very weird things that are going on, I think, with all of us behaviorally. And that was one that I realized like completely shaped up as a result of the conglomerate of things that are going on in my life right now. And that's also why I'm very careful when it comes to not touching anything when it comes to drugs, hard drugs, things like that. Never tried them, never will, because if I've learned anything from games, it's that I have to be very careful. So anyhow, that's your quick story behind my life of things that have been interesting to me and going on with my personal behavior. And I get that these are, in the context of the global situation, absolutely nothing compared to what others are facing. But in this weird sense, I hope that that's how many of us are facing it, because we're practicing these things and we're flattening the curve and shortening this thing. But yeah, this is one area of my life that I found really interesting. I want to share with you all on this channel. I've been not sharing this on the Daily BA for the purpose of, I don't think my situation is actually worth amplifying in that sort of way. But I wanted to piggyback off of what Dimitri had said and put out there, and kind of the vulnerability and talking about what's going on in his life. That's one aspect of mine. I'm going to look at what else is going on and kind of share more with you. But I hope that this finds you all well. Dimitri, you're the man. Appreciate you, brother. It's good chatting with you again today. If you all didn't see his, I'll link it right here. And yeah, that's a quick update. Rhino Controversial Exchange. Catch you later. Stay safe. Peace.